We start with a point. Hi, it's Rob Bryanton, and welcome back to the Imagining the 10th Dimension video blog. Today's entry is called The Long Undulating Snake. Now, the picture that we're looking at behind us here, it comes from a parody of the Imagining the 10th Dimension project that was posted at collegehumor.com. It's called Ice Age in 4D. I've lamented that they used my ideas without giving me credit for them, but it's nice to sort of be recognized as being kind of a pop culture thing by the time College Humor is making fun of you. I guess that means you sort of made it. One of the more well-known phrases from my original Imagining the 10th Dimension animation is that when each of us thinks of ourselves as a shape in the fourth spatial dimension, we're more like a long undulating snake, a shape with a beginning, a middle, and an end. I've talked before about futurist and science fiction writer Bruce Sterling, who refers to this kind of fourth dimensional information set as a spime, and that's really the same concept. In Suffering in the Multiverse, we took an extreme look at all of the universes that could be out there, not just in the parallel universes that result from chance and choice, as per the proof published in 2007 by a team of scientists at Oxford under the direction of physicist David Deutsch, equating the quantum wave function with the different versions of our universe that result from chance and choice, but also in the multiverse landscape of the 10 to the power of 500 potential universes that scientists like Brian Greene, who we just quoted in Does the Multiverse Really Exist?, are now beginning to say are just as real as the universe we find ourselves to be living within. Then in the Biocentric Universe Part 2, we looked at an amazing theory that shows how life creates time in the universe, and not the other way around. Does that sound crazy? Not when we think of ourselves from within the fifth dimension, rather than the fourth. Let's look at that long undulating snake visualization of ourselves within the fourth dimension. When you die, there'll be one version of that shape which will represent the life you experienced from conception to death. But right now, you're someplace within that 4D shape, and there are many branches that lie before you. Those branches come from the fifth dimension, the dimension that Kaluza proved to Einstein is where our universe is defined. It's the dimension which the holographic universe theory says our universe is just a shadow of. The dimension where my project insists the spooky, non-local nature of quantum mechanics makes sense when we realize that our 4D line of time is not continuous because it's actually being created one Planck frame at a time as our universe twists, turns, and folds within our fifth dimensional probability space. So here you are at this very instant, someplace within that 4D shape. You can imagine that you have one long tail stretching from now back to conception, and then an array of possible futures in the fifth dimension, making your shape more like a dandelion gone to seed than a snake. But it turns out that that's only half the story. As we've explored in blogs like The Past is an Illusion and Time in Either Direction, there are also an equally complex number of ways that you could have gotten to the now you're in at this instant. So in the fifth dimension, you're really more like the very center of the head of that dandelion gone to seed, forgetting about the stalk. There are branching probabilistic versions of you that extend out into the past just as much as into the future. Some people call this idea mind-blowing. I prefer to call it liberating. By understanding just how much freedom we each have at any particular now to navigate out of traps and negative loops, and visualizing the best possible versions of ourselves that already exist within the fifth dimension, we can head towards those goals. Think of the scientific evidence concerning the effectiveness of placebos and nocebos, and the burgeoning science of epigenetics, which shows that changes in attitudes and lifestyle can change which genes are switched on or off. When you add those ideas in, you can see just how intimately we are each involved in choosing one set of branches over another as we travel through our lives. This is not just about entering one parallel universe or another, depending on whether I slept in an extra 10 minutes this morning or not. This is about being fully engaged with the beautiful possibilities we have before us. By understanding that the past is just as complex a structure as the future, we can start to visualize how such amazing theories as Lanza and Berman's biocentric universe make more sense. But all of this doesn't really start to gel until we start to imagine this dandelion gone to seed imagery from an even higher extra dimension where all of those possible branches exist as a single point. Then, finally, we've reached the purest expression of the concept that Einstein was thinking about when he said there is ultimately no distinction, no separation between past, present, and future. But what about the law of the conservation of energy? How can there be all these different versions of our universe without running out of energy? That law still stands. There's a certain total amount of energy within a particular version of each dimension, and that's one of the things that physicists use to calculate the amount of dark matter and dark energy that is affecting our particular universe. But each additional dimension multiplies the possibilities for the way that energy can be expressed. There are not nearly as many possible expressions of energy for our imaginary 2D flatlander as there are for us in the third dimension, for instance. And I really love the concept of digital physics because it tells us that ultimately our reality is not based upon energy, but information. As MIT professor and quantum computing expert Seth Lloyd says in his mind-expanding book, Programming the Universe, the conventional history of the universe pays great attention to energy. How much is there? Where is it? What is it doing? By contrast, in the story of the universe told in this book, the primary actor in the physical history of the universe is information. Ultimately, information and energy play complementary roles in the universe. Energy makes physical systems do things. Information tells them what to do. Information equals reality. And that long undulating snake imagery is really just another way of trying to get people to think about reality as information, because that is a liberating approach with far-reaching implications. Next time, we're going to talk about the flexi laws of physics. My name's Rob Bryanton. Enjoy the journey. Hi friends. Due to popular demand, the book that started this project, Imagining the 10th Dimension, is now available as an audiobook. This set of MP3s totals over 6 hours and is the revised and expanded third edition of the book. Go to 10thdimension.com/digital.